So this is a question for Patrick. How is it like to transition from animation to live action with elements of animation? I know you from your work on Feast, the critically acclaimed short film, and loved it. So,
Well, I had been involved in visual effects films a while ago, about 10 years ago. I worked on Narnia and I Am Legend, so I had a little bit of contact with that, but it was more creatures and less performance. And then going to Disney and learning about how appealing characters can just bring a show to life and making something that's funny, it seemed like it would be kind of cool to jump back into it and try this. I'm really familiar with the animation side. I don't know anything about making a television show. Luckily, David's made a lot of those. So the smart thing that producers do, Doug Robinson in particular in this case, is they introduce you to people that can help fill the gaps for the things that you don't know and that you can't do. And that's a great producer does that. And in this case, he introduced me to David and Adam, Adam Goldberg and David Guarascio, who have plenty of experience in that world, so we're trying to learn about each other's crafts along the way. So he's learning how to animate, and I'm learning how to produce a family comedy. Yeah.
awesome. So with having a CGI character, what is the biggest challenge with working with a character that's not necessarily on set all the time?
Well, we had a puppet on set to act against, so Jenna and Steven and the kids could see a puppet, though Jenna's the only one who really interacts with it. And so that helped her at least know where it was going to be, its scale, things like that. It gave us lighting reference for the visual effects side. On the animation side, you have to, because this is a fast-paced show and there's a lot of dialogue delivered, it's really a lot of character animation with talking compared to what animators normally do. But the nice thing about that is you have a pretty strong template for what the performance is. It's not just out of the blue figuring it out for every scene. Like Rachel Dratch delivers a line directed by David that's in a particular emotional state, and the animators run with that. So that's nice because we don't have a lot of time to redo a lot of things. Animation takes a long time, and the sacrifices you make in doing something quickly is you get only a few shots at it.
This is a question for David. You're probably best known for your previous work as the co-creator on Aliens in America. What? I watched that as a child and actually really liked it. Yeah,
you were the one.
I was the one. So, what experience did you learn from that show that you brought to this one in particular?
Well, in particular, that show was, we write the show in Los Angeles, and that show we actually produced in Vancouver, which at the time was very rare for a half-hour comedy to be shot and made outside of Los Angeles. And we're doing the same thing with Imaginary Mary. So what I really brought to this experience was the belief that it can work. Because I think when I went through it the first time around, it was sort of nerve-wracking because as a writer-producer, you're used to being able to sort of go down to the set, see what's going on, interact with the cast on a regular basis, interact with your directors on a regular basis. And it's much harder to do, obviously, when the show is thousands of miles away. What's different about doing it now is that technology has advanced to the point where we have in the writer's room, I can see a rehearsal on set in Vancouver, which was not something we could do 10 years ago. So really it was just the belief that sort of like this could work was what Aliens in America taught me more than anything. Yeah.
It was cool, actually. Not only in the writer's room, I could log in on my phone and see live through the camera on set, which is really helpful if you're somewhere else and the VFX producer has a question about how the shot might be lit or set up. We're always available to kind of comment on that in a way that's kind of cool and high tech, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, final question. As we are a radio station, what music do you guys listen to on your downtime?
You go first. Hold on.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, I feel like I run the gamut. And it's a little bit like, what am I listening to most recently? And most recently, I've been listening to this garage band out of Detroit from the early 70s called Death. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them or not, but it's like they were sort of making music in Detroit at the same time the Ramones were doing their thing in Queens. And it was an all-black band in Detroit doing garage rock, which was sort of, so to their peers, they were like, what are you doing right now? Because we're a Motown town. And I've just been obsessed with them lately, so that's what I've been listening to a lot of.
That's like super cool, right? I don't know if I can compete with that, God, this week, You know, I have a soft spot for Japan droids. They're a little fratty for me, but there's something I like about it. And then this week it came out, and I'm like, they sound really Canadian in this new album for some reason. And they're Canadian, but like, so that kind of threw me a little bit. But I'm liking it. You know, I love the thermals, and they feel like they kind of go that way a little bit. So.